Hey, I got bullied too.
How?
My kid's calling me a bully all the time and telling me I was abusive.
Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy, and this is every Easter egg reference and little thing that you might have missed in episode 5 of Peacemaker. The episode picks up in the aftermath of Peacemaker's binge drinking from episode 4, when he was brought to his lowest emotional point. So this episode is all about bringing his spirits up and slowly making him into a better person. Eagly brings him a stoat to cheer him up, which was very sweet.
Good Eagly.
Leotta is one of my favorite characters in this show, and she is an interesting contrast to Peacemaker. They both have evil, overbearing parents who force them to do violent things that they don't really want to do, and they both love animals. But Leotta has a stable home life, and she is at peace with herself. She knows who she is. And Chris has no emotional stability or social skills.
It's amazing the incredible amount of time you put into this presentation and how incredibly it still is.
Okay, Peacemaker, shut up.
So we're seeing that the two of them are actually on perpendicular journeys. As Chris is gaining more emotional attachments, Leotta is in danger of losing her marriage.
But right now, it seems like you're choosing this.
Also notice that when she texts her mom, there are no previous messages, meaning that they're all set to erase immediately. This shows us that her relationship with Waller is more of as a spy than a daughter. There's no warmth here at all. The video store they work out of is called Henenlotter Video, named after the great B-movie director Frank Henenlotter. Henenlotter directed many films at the low-budget studio Troma, where James Gunn got his start. In fact, there is a poster for Troma's first movie, The First Turn On, here. I know this because when I worked at Troma, my desk was right next to that poster.
You said that last week and the week before.
Yeah, I know, but you never know who's watching for the first time.
Fine, but don't count those on the thumbnail.
All right.
How do you get those numbers anyways? Are there really like 60 Easter eggs in the entire episode?
No, it's Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed. The total of all of that.
Oh, sure.
Whatever. All right, the CEO they mentioned in the slideshow
Alan Coverbird.
is named after a legendary Marvel and DC artist who worked on just about every character you can think of. And John's slideshow has a clever graphic of butterflies entering through the butt.
Then in control of the body.
They go through the butt?
You know, how weird would it be if the butterflies were connected to Starro the Conqueror, and what Peacemaker said in the Suicide Squad was true?
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
During the briefing, Peacemaker says,
Superman's an alien. He's got a poop fetish.
and this is just like how he insulted Batman.
Batman doesn't kill people.
Because he's a pussy!
See, he tears down the big name heroes just to make himself seem bigger, which is very typical behavior of a bully.
Yeah, thanks.
Being a bully is just part of his personality.
But as we've seen, this is how he was raised. His dad only enjoys Chris's stories when they're about people suffering.
His own father tortured him by locking him in a crate for 24 hours with nothing but starving rats. Right?
Then he gives a long list of people who John could have framed instead of his dad.
Payne Stewart or Doug the Pug, Khloe Kardashian, the Red Tiger from Voltron.
Now, in between all the celebrities, which were probably improvised, he drops a few fictional names. Red Tiger from Voltron, Tony Montana from Scarface, Optimus Prime, the G.I. Joe character Shipwreck and Cobra Commander, and the cast of Riverdale, which is based on Archie comics. Then Vigilante says,
Fargo's on tonight.
and Fargo is a great show on FX that you really should watch. But in one season, Ewan McGregor plays twin brothers, and in the DCEU, he also plays Black Mask, which makes me wonder if that season of Fargo exists in this universe, and if so, who's in it?
That was you! You were in that movie!
The title of the episode is Monkey Dory, which is foreshadowed by the chimp in a slideshow.
Butterflies' unique genetic structure and chemistry interact with the host bodies, giving them strength far beyond that of a human being.
And the payoff, of course, is Charlie the gorilla. But gorillas and chimps are technically apes, not monkeys. However, Monkey Dory is a play on Hunky Dory, like Everything is Fine, which is supposed to be the tone of this episode. It's the episode that brings everyone up before the crushing finale. Then Chris and Harcourt have an in-depth conversation about glam metal, which I'm sure everyone over at loudwire.com loved to listen to. Shout out loudwire.com. The van is a gag called Laying the Pipe Plumbing.
Why? What's that mean?
At the witness's house, we see a sign called Dungeon Mistress, meaning that in addition to this woman being into hair metal, she's also a DM. She could do a lot better than this guy. Then we get our big action set piece where Peacemaker goes on an alien killing rampage. Now, the use of X-ray specs seems like a callback to a couple of things. One, and this might be a stretch, is the NES video game Bart vs. the Space Mutants. In this incredibly difficult game, Bart used X-ray specs to find space mutants. But a far more likely reference, given James Gunn's taste, is to the classic John Carpenter film They Live, where Rowdy Roddy Piper uses special X-ray glasses to see the robots who are secretly controlling society.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And this whole setting is a callback to the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. See, in that movie, plant-like aliens are slowly replacing people, and their food is delivered from a facility like this. There's even a major action set piece that takes place here. But mostly, the similarities are the way the aliens scream. And then we meet Charlie, the escaped gorilla that we learned about on the news.
Zoo officials say they have no idea how the gorilla was stolen.
Now, I thought it was interesting that he could speak.
He can talk.
Because this either means that gorillas already have the vocal cords necessary for speech, or that the butterflies can change their physiology along with augmenting their strength. And then, Chekhov's chainsaw.
Never ever gonna kill someone with a f***ing chainsaw.
5 minutes later.
Afterwards, I love the group bonding, with Harcourt taking the photo and starting up a group text. It's one thing that James Gunn excels at, writing broken people who form a new family together. But the bad thing is, from here, there's nowhere to go but down. When Leotta's in Peacemaker's place, she sees this newspaper, which reads, "New hero Peacemaker apprehends the Kite Man." And Kite Man is an actual supervillain from the Batman comics. He first debuted all the way back in Batman 133, and was originally drawn by Bill Finger, who was the co-creator of Batman. This is also a nice bit of character development. It shows us that Peacemaker did start off as a hero, and he still thinks of himself that way. But somewhere over the years, he became selfish, bitter, and became more of a supervillain without even realizing it. I'm also curious why exactly Waller wants this diary planted. Does it contain incriminating evidence, or is it a frame-up, or did they just steal the diary to learn about Peacemaker, and now they need to put it back without him knowing? If you have any theories, let me know down in the comments. And also, in the post-credits scene, he mentions
Danny Glover, Mel Gibson.
The stars of the Lethal Weapon series and Lethal Weapon 4 played here in the last episode. And this episode ends with a massive cliffhanger of Leotta discovering that Murn is a butterfly. So, I'm gonna guess that Waller also had no idea that Murn was a butterfly, because she would have told her daughter. This means that Murn really is running his own operation for his own ends. So what do we think is happening here? Let's talk about some theories. When Chris is having a little hair of the dog, he gives the butterfly some honey. I think that his relationship with this thing is very interesting, because he had no problem killing so many butterflies later on. Now maybe he could have just been super lonely, and we've seen that he has a soft spot for animals. Or maybe he's also curious about what the judo master said.
Butterflies, they're not what you think.
Either way, keeping this thing around shows that he's not 100% a team player. In the finale, maybe even before he finds out that Murn is a butterfly, he's going to have to work against the team. And in the van, Chris gets Harcourt to admit that the deep state is real.
Alright, it's kind of like a deep state.
Remember, his dad loved to watch deep state conspiracies on the news.
Lurk extraterrestrial beings who want nothing other than our civilization to fail.
But the real question of this whole series is, why is this a deep state operation? If the butterflies want to conquer the world, then the Justice League or Task Force X would need to be involved. Instead, Waller wants to keep this quiet. So I'm going to go back to my theory from last week, that the butterflies are mostly trying to help humanity, and that Murn has turned on his fellow butterflies. Waller would know that they want to help humanity, but she would dislike any alien interference, so she just wants them all wiped out. Now, I think that Sophie Song is going to be the one who actually uncovers this mystery with the help of her uncle Judge Judy, which, by the way, of course, is a reference to this.
I want to tell you something. It's my show, not yours. Nobody cares whether you have a personality or not.
Now, that screen that Hargrove finds is also very interesting. It shows several glyphs, matching the ones on the tiny spaceship that Peacemaker received. And it's showing the transfer of energy or data that moves from green to blue. Now, this could be showing humans that they've assimilated, or they could be navigational coordinates being sent out to the other ships. It could be that the butterflies are just driving through space looking for a more permanent home. Maybe Earth is the only planet where they can make their food, and their plan is to just send it out to the others around the galaxy. Or maybe they're just genuinely evil aliens, and Murn has turned on his own people to save the Earth. But let me know if you think the butterflies are good or evil down in the comments below, or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.